Alrighty, we're live. Okay, welcome everyone. This is our daily Native Wellness Power Hour. We are in week 53 already. I can't believe it. Sunday is our 1 year anniversary of providing our power hours. So my name is Jillene Joseph, and I am Aani from Fort Belmont, Montana, and I currently live in Oregon with my family. And I am also the executive director of the Native Wellness Institute. So we want to thank everyone for being here. Today, I have a special guest, and she's a staff member of the Native Wellness Institute. So we want to welcome Chenoa. Chenoa, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hot slachelt ba gulapu de Ashad, Chenoa seed stats, Piala. Hello everyone, good day. My name is Chenoa and I am Piala. And I'm also a community health worker with Native Wellness Institute. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So today, the Native Wellness Institute, we're based in Oregon, and we have a local project that we work on called the Future Generations Collaborative. And since last March, when the pandemic started and went down, we received funding to hire community health workers. We hired Chenoa, and we've been doing like all kinds of stuff. And so today we wanted to talk a little bit about vaccines, and then we also wanted to share about our creative program development. So all the things that we have been doing in response to COVID. And the main reason we're doing this is because people have been hearing about different things that we're doing, or I'll share something online, and they'll say, oh wow, how did you do that, or that's a great idea. So we just wanted to share our ideas, because we're all in this together, and it might spark some other creative thoughts that somebody might want to do in their community. But first, we wanted to talk a little bit about vaccine. So Chenoa, like I said, is our community health worker. We joke, and she jokes and says, she's not a doctor, but she plays one on Zoom. I always think that's so funny. But Chenoa attends like all these medical webinars every week. She stays up on everything COVID. She's my go-to personally as well. But Chenoa, how about just, provide a little update on the whole vaccine scene out there?
Okay, so currently there are 3 approved in the United States. There's the Moderna, the Pfizer, and the Johnson and Johnson. So the Moderna and the Pfizer are 2 shots, and the Johnson and Johnson is 1 shot. The Moderna is 21 days, or excuse me, Moderna is 28 days. You get a booster, and then the Pfizer, you have it 21 days after your initial dose. And the Moderna and Pfizer are relatively the same in terms of side effects and efficacy, which is the efficacy is really good. They're saying 94 to 95% efficacy, which means that out of 100 people, 94 of them will have, at least 94 of them will not have any symptoms at all, even if they do come in contact or contract COVID. They will be completely asymptomatic. And of the people who are in that smaller percentage, the 5 or 6%, those people may get infected, and they may have some symptoms. But so far, everyone, as far as I know, as far as every study has shown, even the people who do develop symptoms, they have been mild symptoms, and they have all recovered. And so that is one thing I think that we need to be looking at in terms of the safety of the vaccines, is that 100% of them have been um, uh, um, useful in keeping people alive. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. And then with the Johnson and Johnson, even though the efficacy is as a slightly lower percentage, I think I keep hearing different numbers, but it's still pretty high, a 75 or 80% or possibly even higher, won't ever develop symptoms. And again, of those people who do become symptomatic, they're mild symptoms. And so it is still a very effective vaccine, as far as all the studies have shown. And I've seen some discussions about them not being quote unquote FDA approved. And there's a lot of I think there's a lot of fear around like what does that mean? And what they have done is the FDA has approved them for emergency. They've authorized them to be used in an emergency situation because we're in a global pandemic, and they are safe. That is what the conclusion has been, is that they are safe, and there hasn't been any larger incidents of any any like adverse reactions compared to other vaccines. So vaccines are really, really useful. I always think of the example of smallpox, and smallpox has been eradicated as a result of vaccine use. And as many of us know, as Indian people, our ancestors, a lot of our relatives died of smallpox because it was used as a biological weapon against us. And had we had access to the smallpox vaccine, I believe that we'd be much stronger in numbers to this day.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Thank you, Chenoa, for sharing. And thank you all for tuning in and sharing. The Native Wellness Power Hours is the Native Wellness Institute's response to the pandemic. And we knew that an already traumatized people would be re-traumatized during this pandemic. So we wanted to do our part and offer our contribution by providing, positive and informative and uplifting programming. And so today, if you're just tuning in, Chenoa and I are just sharing a little bit about vaccines and a little bit about the creative program development that we have been doing. So we have some comments already. A comment about some people have died from these vaccinations. Can you talk about the correlation between Pfizer and blood clots? I had heard in the news that Europe had banned Pfizer or another vaccine. So this is another reason why we wanted to do this, right? Like, we're not medical experts or anything like that, but Chenoa in particular stays abreast of everything, attends medical webinars weekly, several of them actually. So Chenoa, do you want to address those comments? The first one, some people have died from these vaccinations. That was the comment. And then the correlation between Pfizer and blood clots.
So I don't know of anyone who has died from the vaccine. From all of the reports that I have read, and again, I'm not a doctor, and I am not a medical researcher. I'm not a spokesperson for any vaccine company. I'm not getting paid for any of those companies. But from what I have read, no one has died as a result of the vaccine. Um, there have been some people. There was one person who developed a blood disorder. He was a doctor, and my understanding is that the incidence of that happening is very, 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 it's like 0.0000% of the population develops it, and they have not directly related it to the vaccine, but he did have the vaccine 2 weeks prior. And I think that caused a lot of fear, because what happens is literally millions of people have gotten gotten these vaccines by now. I think just in Oregon, we're past 1 million, and across the US, I'm sorry, I should have looked this up before I was going to, and I forgot. But there are millions and millions of people now who have received the vaccine. And these blood disorders, I think that from my understanding is that people develop blood disorders. Like, we have to remember that while this pandemic is happening, life is also happening. So people also are getting colds, people also are getting flus, people develop blood disorders, people are still unfortunately being diagnosed with cancers.
Mhm.
So all of these things are going on. And so causation is not correlation, right? So like is just because, or correlation is not causation. So just because someone had received it doesn't mean it's a cause of the vaccine. And
Yeah.
so they have determined, the researchers that and the doctors and medical examiners have determined it was not as a result of the vaccines. And if you are interested in knowing what is inside of the vaccine, it all of the ingredients are printed on the FDA, um, the FDA's website. And also, I would strongly encourage anyone who is curious to look at that, and also look at ingredients of all of the medications that you may be taking, all of your vaccines. I'll also look at ingredients of your of our hot Cheetos and soda pops. So we're always like consuming things that are probably are like strange or different or chemicals, and these chemicals that they're using for the vaccines are safe and effective.
Nice. Thank you. Well, I think that's another reason why we wanted to do this topic today, right? Is just to let people know more information, where they can go for more information. I know I am fully vaccinated. I have both vaccinations, and I think it's been a month now since I've been fully vaccinated. And I got the Pfizer. The first shot. We went in a state of gratitude, just like being thankful that we were getting it, and we all shared like why we were getting it. I dressed up, I wore my ribbon skirt, and just stayed in the state of gratitude. And I did not even feel the shot go in. Like, they were done and I didn't even realize they'd even started yet. Like, they were really good. I drank water and I just kept like randomly moving my arm. And I didn't have any symptoms after the first one. The second one, we did the same. We were in a state of gratitude, drank a lot of water and Pedialyte before. And then after continued, to drink water and just move my arm. My arm was a little bit sore after the second one for like an hour. And then that was it. I didn't have any, symptoms or anything. And then our whole household got vaccinated, and there was just a variety of symptoms, from like, starting to feel like you got a cold, to, feeling a little bit tired. And, but it was just literally like for a few hours. So that
Mhm.
was our experience. What are you vaccinated, Chenoa?
I'm fully vaccinated. My experience was a little bit different. I got the Moderna, um, and wanted to talk about the vaccine one more time, about the safety and efficacy, because as of right now, 536,000 plus people have died as a result of COVID. And I will take those odds of getting the vaccine, because I want to live. I want to stay out of the hospital. I want to keep my family safe, because they are seeing that having the vaccine is the chance of getting it and spreading to other people is expected to be lower than what they originally thought. Um, and so I really want to, that feels safe to me. That's what's
Mhm,
um,
mhm,
and when I got my vaccine, um, because I do work in the public, and I work with folks who are potentially symptomatic and potentially positive, etc. Um, I went in, I waited in a line, which they marked 6 feet between us. Everybody was masked, and had and we were all, everything was like, I got it at a hospital, and so they wiped everything down. I initially thought, oh, I should get it at the hospital because that would feel safer. And then as soon as I walked in, I was like, oh my gosh, this is where all the sick people are coming. Now I've just like exposed myself. So that brought in a little bit of anxiety for me. But I felt better seeing like how safe that everyone was being, and that they kept people who are symptomatic in a separate area. And then I went back, they asked me some questions, gave me my shot, and then I waited for 15 minutes, and then I was free to go. I I did feel like I was having like a tingly feeling in my arm or in my hand and my arm. And I was like, oh my gosh, am I having a reaction? And then I took a deep breath and I said to myself, self, I think this is anxiety.
Yeah. Yeah.
I went, okay, like, am I actually having a symptom, or am I just like even talking about it makes me feel like a little bit nervous. And then I was
Yeah.
like, okay, this is like, this is my body's reaction to say, look out, watch out, everything is um you know out of whack. And then I did the same thing. I was like, you know what, this is so much better than getting exposed. And so then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so thankful. And then I started thinking about, there are literally over 100 countries, so millions of people who have zero access to this vaccine. Like, they can't even get on a list, they can't get on a wait list, they can't travel anywhere. And then I was just filled with so much gratitude that we live in a country where we do have access.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think it's great that, you were able to like work through the anxiety part with like
mhm.
being grateful that you got the vaccine, and I know a lot of people are feeling anxious about it and still are questioning whether they want to get it or not. We have comments even in here about, well, what do you mean by what is safe or whatever, And so we're here trying to share our story and experience. Of course, we're also here to encourage you. Shono and I both have, family members or friends that have passed away from COVID, or friends, family, that have passed away from COVID. And so we know because of our the historical context of our people, right? About what other diseases and epidemics have done to our people, right?
Yeah.
Excuse me, as I have a little cough. And so we know that this is a part of the solution. And the other day I was in a meeting, and this elder, he opened up the meeting in a good way. He sang a prayer song, and he talked about this dream that he had, where someone in his dream came to him and said, you need these two plants like to keep you safe from COVID. And they were like plants from his homelands where he's from. And so he he woke up from his dream, and he actually went online and he ordered these plants online. And so what the dream told him was that these plants would help his spiritual protection from COVID. And what he said was, our people were scientists, our people believed in science. He goes, and I believe in science as well, so I also got the vaccine. He said, and that will protect me physically. So his cultural belief systems will help protect him spiritually, and science will help to protect him physically. And I thought that was really awesome. And then he went on to say, you know, lots of people, and he talked about his own family members even, are believing in these conspiracy theories that are out there, right? And he said, when we're spiritually grounded, that will help us not to go down these rabbit holes of the conspiracy theories, right? If we're spiritually grounded. So for people watching today or that might be watching later, there's lots of efforts out there to cause disinformation, right? And we know like that has already been found. People from other countries are like intentionally doing these campaigns here in the US, um, to make us not believe in the vaccine. So we just have to like pause a little bit if we start, getting anxious or nervous or scared or fearful and all of this, and just pause, take a deep breath, and then really seek out information to help us better understand the information. So, again, thank you all for just listening. We know that everybody does not believe in vaccines. And we know that for all of us to move through this pandemic in a better way, more of us are going to have to get vaccinated to reach herd immunity, right? And if we want to get back to going to the movies and going to powwows and all of this kind of stuff, we're going to have to reach that, right? So of course we're encouraging vaccines today. So the other thing that we have been doing in response, of course, we've been, helping families that are impacted with COVID, including family members, that have lost other family members. We've been responding to helping the community with, mental well-being through this. And so we wanted to share a little bit about what we're calling our creative program development. So Chenoa, do you want to just share a little bit about some of the stuff that you have been involved with and doing?
Sure. So, um, yeah, working as a community health worker, I think has really been my calling. I've had a lot of different careers over the years, and most of them have involved working with people. So when the pandemic hit, I was like, how am I ever going to work with people again if we can't see each other? And so one thing that NWI and under the umbrella of the Future Generations Collaborative is we started the um, support circles. I was going to say self-care. Um, all of those things where we talk about self-care, and we talk about sometimes the support circles. I think when people hear support circles, people kind of like, some people tend to like go inward and say, I don't want to go and share my problems, but we really made our support circles like an uplifting place and activity based. And so one of the cool things that we were able to do was reach out, and we got some funding to be able to actually purchase supplies. So we've done things, everything from like cooking together. So we drop off we get all the groceries and drop them off at people's doors, and then we cook together. Some of the groups have done beading together. Some of the youth support circles have been, and the women's support circles have been doing painting together. So again, we just get all the supplies and then drop them off, and that's a lot of fun. I really enjoy facilitating. I feel like that's like the that's one of the many highlights. Just because it's really good to have that personal connection. And one of the comments or some of the feedback that I got was that it's almost like getting together because we have something tangible that we're all doing that together, alone together. I keep thinking of that video.
We're doing alone together. Yeah, that was been one of the themes that we say. Well, one of the I guess one of the teachings, if you will, behind the activity-based support circles. So we offer 5 support circles a week. We have a youth one, we have a parent one, we have a two-spirit non-binary one, we have a women's one, and we have a men's one. And the the reason that we stop funding to make them activity based is because we know when we're busy with our hands, right, cooking or beading or sewing or doing some kind of craft, that the traditional teaching behind that is that we're putting our good thoughts into it, right? We're putting our love and our good intentions into it, especially if we're going to gift it to someone or feed it to someone or whatever. So thereby, we're keeping good thoughts in our heads, right? And so we know that in the pandemic, our thoughts have been all over the place. Am I going to get it? Or, all of this kind of stuff. And so we're trying to help and uplift and support people's mental well-being. And so what have well the men, our family is hunters, and so we always save our hides. And one of the first activities the men's support circle did was we dug out all of our hides, unthawed them, cut them into pieces, and the guys scraped their own hides and they made their own hand drums, they made their own drumsticks. So that was pretty awesome. That was one of my favorite activities for them, for the guys. Chenoa, what have been some of your favorite activities with the women's support circle?
I really enjoyed the cooking. Oh, we did a planting one in the spirit of the spring and bringing in new growth. I thought that was really exciting, especially as we're coming upon a year of our isolation. And the painting I really enjoyed. I think I've enjoyed and the poetry. We did a poetry together, which we didn't even need any supplies for that. That was just really fun to share some uh, emotions and laughter. I think the support circles have like brought me so much laughter lately that, like, it's just really good to like joke around and just be and be on a Zoom and not be in a meeting. So that's been really cool. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
and I think the youth ones, they really like cooking and painting.
Yeah. Yeah, the youth ones. Well, the other thing that we did was we hired people in the community that lost work because of the pandemic, and we paid them to be the delivery people, right? So we pay them to come and do all the deliveries. So that has been awesome. And then because we know like food scarcity is real and has been another big part of the pandemic, like all of the groups have really enjoyed the cooking. I think for the women's at one point we were up to like 50 women that were that were joining. So the cooking ones have been my favorite. We've tried to like do recipes like that are our favorite things or whatever, just trying new things. One of my other favorites, we get feedback from the women like, well, what do you want to do next? And so one of the women wanted to do a spa night. So we did a spa where we had in the bag we put a face mask stuff. We put a candle, we put some tea, some chocolate, some fingernail polish, some essential oils with those dis the diffuser, to put the essential oils in. Like that was their awesome gift. And so it was so funny because we're all on Zoom and we all have these, blue or yellow face masks on. And the women that came in late, they came in, they're like, whoa, because our faces are all blue or red. So that was one of my favorite ones. I liked that one. But actually too, I liked all of them. Like it's good for my mental well-being. Every Friday night we meet and it's awesome.
Mhm.
We've also done a baby shower on Zoom. So do you want to share a little bit about that, Chenoa?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And we did, I think there were 24 babies registered. um and we asked ahead of time, do you have, if you're expecting or know someone who's expecting, um give us a call and we'll get them on the list. We set a time and we did the same thing. We did a um delivery out ahead of time, and it was just like the usual baby gear, like diapers and essential needs, etc., and then some parent self-care stuff. And then we also did those Pendleton or well, the swings. And so that was really cool. And then we delivered them all ahead of time, and then all of the families opened them up together. And so some babies had already been born, and some parents were still pregnant at the time. So it's been fun now to see people starting to deliver their babies and how their babies are growing and stuff. And um, there was a parent who came and hadn't delivered yet, and then she's delivered, and now like showed her baby in the support circles, and we were all like, it was just really magical and uplifting. And especially for people who are first time parents during the quarantine, I've been praying a lot for them, because I know how challenging it can be as a first time when you're first become a parent. And so I've been praying for them, and I think it was helpful for some of them to even just be around other people and knowing that they're not in this alone, and that we have like, we can't all babysit for each other right now, but at least we can drop each other food or
Hmm.
healthcare tips. So that
Yeah,
was fun.
yeah. Definitely. Well, and we wanted to do the baby shower because, in the time of COVID, of course, we're not able to gather. People are alone, even delivering their babies, and so again, we just wanted to uplift the women. We dropped off like baby shower decorations and snacks for them, so they would have their own food, like we would if we were together. We had special guests come on and sing like traditional baby lullabies. We played games, and so it was really fun. We made it as fun as possible, so that was exciting. So we've just been like super creative, like everyone else. So we're just sharing, some of our ideas that we're doing. So I know with the youth, we're actually getting ready for the youth one right now. It's this afternoon, but the youth, at first it was intended for like middle school and high school students, and then sometimes their siblings would see what's going on and jump on, and so now we have like all ages and a solid group of like 15 young people that come every single week. And we've heard from them, we've heard from parents that say, you know my kids are asking, is it Wednesday yet? Because they know they're going to have their youth support circle. Like that's their highlight of the week, right? Is coming together. And we know that cooking has been huge. And so in part, yes, it's addressing food scarcity, but it's also helping with like life skills, right? Like teaching them how to cook. And of course, we try to do meals where there's not a lot of like knives or, cutting and things like that. If they're too young, we of course ask for their parents to come in. Um, but before we go with more examples on the creative program developing, we have some people that are still talking about the vaccines and so that are asking questions. I just want to jump back there real quick. So we have some people, why am I so afraid to get the vaccine for me and my special needs son? And someone else, you are not alone. I too am afraid to get the vaccine. I am terrified to get the vaccine, but I know I will have to sooner or later. I'm leaning more towards the Johnson and Johnson.
Mm,
So can you just offer, oh, somebody else, Sandy says, pray on it for those afraid. I was at first, but
mm,
with all that has happened, we need to protect each other. So
mm,
Chenoa, do you just have some words of encouragement for the people that are afraid to get the vaccine?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I was afraid. I trust it, but I still have that like internal like mama bear instinct, like, okay, danger ahead. And and so I did the same thing of what Sandy was saying. I prayed about it, and I thought, there wasn't any. I know there've been some other comments on social media about big pharma and the government and rich white men, et cetera, et cetera. And those concerns are valid, and I understand that. And I also know that because of the pandemic, um, like the vaccines are being provided to US citizens or people in the US. I don't even think you have to be a citizen, um, at at free. And that isn't, to me, like in my logical brain, I was like, nobody's. And as far as like I think I saw some other comments about like microchips or whatever, and I'm like, there's a microchip in our cell phones, in the computers we're using. Like we're already in the grid. So um to me that was like a moot thing. Like I that's not even a concern. There's no microchips, etc. Um and I feel like yeah, I just kind of after I got the first shot, then I was worried about getting like side effects from the second dose, because that's where a lot of people are saying that they felt more, had the fevers and the chills and all of these things. And I was like, yeah, this might happen, and it might happen if I were ever to get COVID. And so the cool thing with the vaccine is that those side effects are side effects and they resolve. And we know that they'll resolve within a day or two. And for those folks who have gotten like the COVID arm, that it will, resolve on its own. And with the COVID infection, there are people today who got infected and got sick with COVID in March of last year who are still sick.
Mhm.
And that was like, you know what, I'm in the age category. They're saying women in their 30s and 40s are more likely to have that, what they're calling long COVID now, and we don't know. And my prayers are up for anyone who has experienced that. And so when I thought about it in those terms, I was like, you know what, even if it doesn't take me out or whatever, I at least know with the vaccine that I will be protected against something that could be, because I feel like we're not talking about that enough, is people who are having long-term effects from
Mhm.
having COVID infections and lung damage. So that to me provided a lot of reassurance.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and we know because of health disparities and all of that, our people have been, greatly impacted by COVID, right? In number of cases, the long-term effects as you're describing. So, Vicky, thank you for your question. She says, what if you live with someone that had COVID, but you never yourself got sick? Is it possible then that you are not susceptible to get COVID?
Mhm. I feel like I don't know the answer. I don't think anyone knows the answer to that. And I also feel like I mean, if it's a gamble. I know people who got really sick with COVID and then they got reinfected later and they didn't have any symptoms. And I know the opposite. I know people who got it and were asymptomatic and then got reinfected and were very sick. I know of people who lived with someone who got COVID and never got it. I know people who got it and I were very high risk and then they recovered and they were fine. And to me, it is such an unpredictable virus. Um, and that could be some people are less susceptible, but we don't know that answer for sure. And I feel like by getting the vaccine, that is helping me to protect the people around me. For
Mhm,
those are unable, there are people who are unable to get the vaccine because of allergies, because they're getting chemo, or because of their immune system being compromised, or whatever their reasons, or whatever their reasons, their like medical reasons are for not being able to get it. That's why I also got the vaccine, is to for because there will be people who can't get it, and right now our children can't get it, and
yeah.
aren't able to get the vaccine. And so my prayer is that enough of us adults get the vaccine so that our children will be less likely to become infected.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah. So, Shanoa, what are some, you mentioned the FDA going to their website to look at the actual, what the vaccines are made of, but what are some other sites that people can go to for more information about COVID or more information about vaccines?
Yeah, there's actually quite a bit. There's the CDC and the FDA, and then there's also a lot of the reputable news organizations like the Washington Post, the New York Times has a whole section on everything COVID related, and it includes the vaccine updates, how they work, and um, um, how they're what do you call it, how they're going with the vaccine rates, et cetera, et cetera. They have I mean, it's like a ton of, I mean, it's like a public health effort
Mhm,
having that. There are also, you can also look at your own tribal IHS clinic. Like I go onto Tribal Health Authority's website. I go onto the Seattle Indian Health Board has a really great information. Um, I'm trying to think of, like, yeah, most of the urban Indian health centers will have their own websites. The tribal health clinics will have their own websites, which are really sharing a lot of great information, and that are tribally specific. I know that there was some other there was one weird article that came out about Johnson, and it was an opinion piece about Johnson and Johnson, and that has been totally
oh,
refuted. It's been like, it's safe for Native people, Johnson and Johnson. So and the moral of the story is, when a vaccine becomes available, whichever one is available to you in that time, go ahead and go for it.
mhm, yes. Nice, nice. Awesome. Okay. So a little bit more about the creative program development stuff that we have been doing. So in the excuse me, in the men's support circle, so they have been doing like these longer projects that take more than, a week. I have this tickle in my throat. So they did the drums, and then they did they made these cedar boxes, like that was a really cool, like carved these cedar boxes. And then they made flutes, and under the guidance of Gene Tagaban, who is one of our board members and facilitators, and he's also, a flute player. So he taught them how to make these flutes, so they all got to make their own flute and then practice it. And while they were doing that in the women's support circle, we were doing like poetry writing and stuff. And so then we had a community event, where we all came together. I think there was like close to 40 of us that attended this community event, which was, good for Zoom. And we shared poetry and songs and jokes and, all kinds of stuff. So that was pretty awesome. And I know we're such you know, a relational people. Chenoa, do you want to tell about the event that is tomorrow?
Yes, I hope you all can join us. If you are in the Portland greater area or West Coast, 6 o'clock West Coast time, we're going to be gathering via Zoom and just sharing all of the things that we have done and learned or cleaned or organized or made during COVID, during our isolation. So it's called our Quaranniversary celebration. Um, I thought at the beginning of this, like I kind of had this um what do you call it? Prediction, I guess you could say. I was like, because everything shut down for like 2 weeks, and I was like, this doesn't make any sense. It's gonna take longer than 2 weeks. We might have at least 6, 7 months, right? And so I was like, man, I'm gonna have all this time. I'm gonna have a fully beaded outfit at the end of this. That has not happened. Um, anyway, anything that people have made, if you haven't already posted it, or even if you've posted it, you're invited to share. So that's kind of what we're doing. I may share my organized room or a counter. I don't even know what I'm gonna share, honestly.
Yes, I know. I got to get mine together too. So speaking of the organizing, that was another effort that we did, to with our community engagement, is we did a decluttering and organizing workshop. So we just we have a community member, like that's her business. She has an organizing business. It's pretty awesome. So she came on, and like she had this PowerPoint, and she just taught people different strategies and things to do, how to like declutter our homes. And coming from like a trauma lens, we know that people that have experienced trauma or currently experience trauma, sometimes we like to collect things. Other people might call it hoarding, but a softer kind of word to use is collecting. And some of us collect a lot of stuff. And so we thought, what better way during this pandemic when we have this time is to start decluttering. So when then we had some check-ins, and then from that, like someone said, well, why don't we start this Facebook page? And so we started this, in the spirit of generosity page, where people that declutter and they want to get rid of stuff that's, good, that some might be useful to someone else, they can put it on there. So we started that page. We have other community members with trucks that pick up couches or bikes or all kinds of stuff, and help each other out. So that has been pretty awesome. uh,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's been good. So now back to the vaccines. We still have questions coming in. We're just kind of going back and forth here. But Candace, hey Candace, Candace wants to know, can you share about the vaccine and information available for families who are breastfeeding or currently pregnant?
Yeah, so I read an article which is really cool, and I can't remember exactly where I found it. So you can always check the CDC, and they talk about it's a personal choice, etc. But this article that I read is some early research. It's not peer reviewed yet, but it is indicating that the antibodies are good. So antibodies are what your body produces when your body's fighting off infections. And they are finding that the antibodies for COVID are actually being shared in breast milk. So some early studies are showing that it's actually probably beneficial for your newborns to have, if a parent is able to breastfeed, that it could benefit the newborn. Um, yeah, that's all I was gonna say. But definitely check let's see, I think I have a website I can share. And I also saw a comment about the information for tomorrow. I don't know how to post a flyer in the comments. So let's see here. I will try to figure that out. Maybe we can share it on the NWI website for
Yeah,
tomorrow.
we can do that. So we'll put the flyer on our website for the cornversary that is tomorrow.
And if you want to just come and listen, and I contacted, or I had contact with a youth who's wanting to share a song. She's a up and coming songwriter and musician, and so I'm really excited about that. And so if you want to just come and listen and observe, that's totally awesome.
Nice. And thank you, Jessica Antonio, as well, for commenting on just the vaccine stuff. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. You
Mhm.
know, all of the staff and board of the Native Wellness Institute have all been vaccinated. So we're super excited and happy about that. All of our events probably for the rest of this year are going to remain online, just because of, you know, the time it's going to take for everyone to get vaccinated, and keeping our community safe. Someone had a question earlier about what does that mean? So for us, what safety means and why we're choosing to stay online through the end of the year, um, is because of how hard COVID has hit our people and the deaths that have happened in our communities. And we don't want to have any kind of gathering where someone could come and unknowingly bring it, and then someone, you know, who may not get sick themselves, but they may be carriers and take it home and get someone else sick, and someone else might die. So in order to be safe and to prevent that, that's why we're choosing not to have any, you know, gatherings through the rest of this year. And that's also why we chose to get vaccinated. So, you know, again, there's all kinds of views on vaccinations, because we are, you know, deal with health and wellness and healing. We believe and support science, and we wanted to be a part of the solution. That's some of the reasons why we chose all to get vaccinated, the staff and the board. Again, to be a part of the solution and keeping not only ourselves safe, but our families and our community safe as well, by not getting COVID. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what we mean by, you know, staying safe.
Mhm. And I personally feel like it's a little bit early to predict of, like, it's going to be gone by summer. And I feel like that's really premature given the nature of these new variants seem to be shedding more virus, which means that they're more contagious. And so for folks, and yeah, it just feels like there's like a lot of variables. And so to me, being safe is like just being more cautious because we just don't know. And especially with the more that kids are, I feel really like concerned that I don't want our kids to continue to get sick, because I do know of children who have gotten sick from it, and I would rather play it safe.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely, definitely. So the Native Wellness Institute, like I said, we're coming up on our year anniversary. I just like remember it vividly. We had a training over in Florida. I traveled over on March 9th and I came back on March 12th. And while we were gone is like when the country started shutting down. And once we got on the airplane, like there was people sitting behind us that had just left Germany. Their work called them at 3 a.m. and said, pack your bags, you're on the 6 o'clock flight. And it was just like, whoa, like this is getting real. And so we had a staff meeting on Friday the 13th. We had a board meeting on that following Monday on the 16th. And by that next Saturday, the 21st, is when we started our Native Wellness Power Hours. So this Sunday, we're actually doing an anniversary power hour on Sunday at noon. And it's kind of gonna be like a wellness extravaganza power hour. So we're gonna have just like 5-minute little presentations of songs and, messaging and, stuff like that. So please remember to tune in on Sunday, where we'll have a flyer out today, actually just helping to promote that. But we just want to celebrate our year anniversary. I mean, really for all of us, right? We've all been in this for a year now. And yes, it's been challenging, and yes, we've had struggles, but we've also had a lot of blessings. And so one of the things that I have tried to do all throughout COVID is like point out those blessings, and to even say, this is a blessing of COVID, right? This is a blessing of COVID. This is a blessing of COVID. So Chenoa, what has been a blessing of COVID for you that you have experienced?
I think connecting with people in new and different ways, for one. And hi Debbie. Hi, I see like a lot of people on here. Hi Sheila. I see all these. Hi everybody. I'm just now seeing some of the comments. Sorry. But I think that we have a lot of blessings, and I was talking with a mentor the other day actually, and he was talking about um, like we've been talking about how this is like this time of isolation has been prophesized by a lot of Native people, a lot of Indigenous people, and this is like a, for lack of a better word, a test, I guess, to see how our how we react and what we do. And I feel like some of the blessings I've had is just spending more time with my family, and really some of it is challenging, and we get in each other's hair and all of that good stuff, but also spending some time in self-reflection, and like um I think I've shared this before, is that I manage my anxiety. I've had anxiety for many years, and I think perhaps Creator gave me that gift of anxiety to help me prepare for this time, and like knowing how to self-regulate and manage those. So yeah, being able to oh, I see someone talking about their learning their language online, a lot more online learning. I've connected a lot with my my language relatives. Shout out to Puyallup Tribal Language Department and relatives, etc. So that's been really cool. I could probably go on about the many blessings. I feel like that's the only way that I've been able to survive, is to.
Yeah, that's awesome. I too have been able to attend language classes because of Zoom. I've attended a funeral on Zoom, and that was a blessing. I was grateful for Zoom that allowed me to do that. I attended a play on Zoom, and that was amazing. So there has been all kinds of blessings, and I wanted to bring that up because I think that helps to balance out the challenges and things like that we've been experiencing through this. There have been blessings as well, so there's always that flip side to everything. So even in the chat, if you can share, what are some of the blessings that you have experienced during this pandemic. And then, Jessica, she keeps dropping some great knowledge here in the chat, reminding us that even when we get vaccinated, um, we still have to be vigilant, right? About wearing masks and using hand sanitizer and disinfecting spaces and counters and all of that kind of stuff, right? So thank you for that reminder. And then Chenoa also mentioned the variants, and we have to stay up on the variants. So just like the flu, the regular flu, there's different strains of the regular flu. There's different variants, if you will, right? And what's happening, the same thing is happening with COVID. And in fact, here in Oregon, there's like they're calling it the EEK for short because of all the letters and numbers that that is the real name of it. But there's an Oregon variant that was just discovered last week, actually. And they're saying that it's kind of more like the Brazil and the South African variant, which is like a little bit more aggressive variant. So time will tell about how that's gonna, continue to move forward. And so if we're not testing for variants, we're not going to find them, right? So it's because, the Oregon Health Sciences University is like studying these. And so that's just another reason that we have to, move forward with caution, and to protect ourselves and our families and our communities.
Yeah.
So, Chenoa, we have like a 1 minute left or so. Do you have any final thoughts that you would like to share with our viewers today?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you all for watching. I know we have a lot of regulars that check in every day. Hi, Mom.
My
um,
mom, my mom.
and also, yeah, just I really appreciate everyone sharing their concerns and anxieties, and also getting through that, and pushing forward and keeping each other safe by doing our public health practices, wearing our mask and hand washing. So thank you for those really good reminders. And if we have access to the vaccine, and I also want to um, I want to say too that I feel like there's a lot of emotion around it, and I understand people's fear and anxiety around it, and I also don't want people to feel like I am telling you what to do. And I think that sometimes people feel like that, or I feel like it's we each are responsible for our own body and our own self and our own health. And so if you really feel strongly that this isn't a safe choice for you, then I would encourage you to, talk with your provider, and say, um, talk about those things, and keep an open mind um, on the safety, and it's not any judgment. So I also want to just recognize that I'm not judging anyone. Um, I just want you all to be safe, because we all love you, and we want you to be here for our future generations.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, no judging for sure. We're encouraging, right? And so I just want to thank everyone as well for tuning in. I want to thank you, Chenoa, for coming and sharing your knowledge. We hope that some of the examples that we shared may inspire you to like, oh, I want to try that in my community or something like that. We want to invite you to come on Sunday for our 1 year anniversary of our power hours, and we're going to have an awesome wellness extravaganza power hour with music and inspiring words and things like that. That will be on Sunday at noon Pacific time on the Native Wellness Institute's Facebook page. We also want to remind you, I'm wearing my Get Your Well On shirts. We have lots of different shirts. Healing people heal people, shift happens, grandma up, healing is a verb. I forget some of the other ones. So these are on sale online. They help us fund actually our power hours. We also have a sweater. I meant to bring it down, but I forgot. And it says, I am worthy, but it's backwards. Until you look in a mirror, then you can see that it says, I am worthy. And then on the back, it says, we are worthy. So we have hoodies and crew neck sweatshirts. Those are also on our website, nativewellness.com. You can go check those out. So we want to encourage everyone to get vaccinated if you haven't. Learn more if you still have fear or questions about it. And then we hope to see you tomorrow and the next day and next week. We don't know how long we're going with the power hours. We just started them because we've never been in a pandemic. We didn't know how long they were going to go, but we just keep doing them. And we're grateful to the Noise Foundation for their financial support and helping us bring this to you each day.
Oh,
So,
Dad. Love you all.
yep. Love you all. Take care. We'll see you next time.